Hey there guys, it's Metro and we are back. And for the first time in Dragonflight, we'll be entering Mythic Plus dungeons in Season 1 within about 24 hours, depending on when servers come up. So, what are we taking a look at here today and why are we talking about it? This is my Mythic Plus library, a spreadsheet where I document every single run I do. Recently decided that it's only going to be the pug runs, specifically runs with pugs in them, but every single run that appears on the channel within that category. And a lot of you guys might be familiar with the idea of the spreadsheet where I used part of it to show all the levers. We made a lot of videos on that and it got kind of popular. A lot of people were talking about it, but that's just a side product of this bigger project, okay? And I don't think a lot of people know about this, especially if you're new to the channel. That project is fun and it's a funny little thing to see, like, oh, let's see, how many people leave and we look at all that. But that all comes from this here, okay? What you're seeing right now is the stats for season 2 of Shadowlands, okay? We have it from all the way back to BFA season 4, okay? Before we properly documented it with some nice looks to it as well. But everything is here from all the last few seasons. And this time around, we're doing it again for Dragonflight Season 1. So I want to tell you guys about this because I think this is a really important way that people can learn. It's not just for, fun and laughing at the levers. It's also for learning. And you can also see live stats and learn things from that as well. Everything updates in real time. And this is a document that you should be encouraged to use yourself as well. I didn't make it just for me. I made it with the intention of trying to get the community to use it. Back in BFA, I had this idea where if, every single person in the community was trying to document their runs in some way similar to this, how much easier it would be for a lot of these kind of like niche things that are happening in these higher keys or specific keys in general. It would be a lot easier to find them. Like, for example, there's some crazy trick that some top groups are doing. People bring it up in my stream chat all the time, and I'm like, oh, well, I need to see it to understand it, blah blah blah. And they're like, well, it took place in this 10-hour stream, and it's like, yeah, you know what I mean. So it's a lot. And even on my channel too, I stream a lot, but I try to keep the streams a little shorter. But it's hard to get everything broken down. So this is going to list everything. Again, we can look at season 4. You're going to see the dungeon, the level, the date, the results, the affix sets, all the affixes in general, what tanks, healers, and DPS are present. And for me, there will always be a link to a VOD. So these are unlisted videos I upload. I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on getting all of these on the channel for you guys unlisted so you can look at them. So you can do the same thing here. You can also sort by pretty much everything in here. Okay, so again, in season 4, we could sort by dungeons. If you want to see only Streets of Wonder keys that were above level 20 with certain affixes, then you can do that. Do you want to see every key with like a hunter in it, every key with a shadow priest, a holy priest, a shaman, whatever you want to see, it's all there. And this is important because in season 4, there's not really a lot of learning in Shadowlands going on, unfortunately. But in season 1 of Dragonflight, a lot of this stuff is going to be brand new to people. Even though we have 4 dungeons that are returning, I do think a lot of people are seeing them for the first time. So realistically, I think it's really important that something like this be on your radar if you are looking to learn. And I hope that this will help. Obviously, I think a lot of people who are watching the channel, not a lot of you guys are in this boat where you're learning everything from the ground up anymore, but maybe you know somebody who is. And I would just love to share this with more people because realistically, this doesn't really get me any views or money or anything like that. But I think this is the best way to actually give people the information they might be looking for. Because even, like I say, I stream 4 or 5 hours a day or whatever it's going to be now with the season opening. And it's great, I'm sure, if you have time to watch 6 hours of a stream. But realistically, not many people do that. So instead, what we can do here is show individual runs a little bit more concise and seeing exactly what the composition is or what the results might be so you could learn from it a little better. So I just wanted to tell you guys about that because I'm going to keep track of this. I did mention this at the start, but this will only be for the pug runs. I feel like it's kind of become my duty to keep track of the actual stats as well to better represent the situation. In season 1, there's going to be a lot of keys I'm going to be running with the guild I'm in now. So realistically, those aren't ever going to disband. I mean, unless they're an absolute mess. We almost always finish them, even though they're for like an hour and a half key. So that would kind of start to skew the results. So I weighed this heavily. I asked on stream. It didn't seem like anybody really had any strong opinions for or against it, but my thoughts on it were, if I include all the runs, then it would be easier for people to find the information they want, and especially if some of these runs appear on stream, it might be easier to find them afterwards. But if I include all the runs that have 0% chance of disbanding, then it's going to completely upset the stats. And late in the season, we'll end up with a situation where we have with Shadowlands Season 1, where, yeah, as you see, 90% finish rate. And that's because of that. We did 95 keys week 1 and probably 40 of them were with the guild. So, yeah, that really skews the numbers here. Also, heavily debating on if I should include the 2s and 5s and stuff that we do early on. I'm thinking I won't. I think we'll just start with whatever the 10s are. And I don't know. I can't make that decision's always tough because you're not really going to learn into 2 regardless. So it's almost like it doesn't count. But it is a Mythic Plus and it will be a pug realistically. So let me know what you guys think about that. Um, Honestly just made this video to try to help raise awareness on this because a lot of people ask like, oh, your spreadsheet, you're going to document the levers again. Well, that's one part of it, and that's not even on the sheet here, but yeah, I'm going to do a lot more than that. And I personally, I think this is the best way to help everybody in this community get the information they might want. So I would really encourage you to do this too, or even if you guys know other people who record or stream their content or already, or that you don't even need to do that. You can just start recording your stuff on the side and do it. It would be great because then we can compare stats. You know what I mean? All of this will update in real time. So as soon as I start putting entries in, it will start updating. And then at the end of the season, we'll have something like this where we can see that we have a 80% disband rate in a single dungeon. You know what I mean? And if other people are documenting that, then I can compare my stats against yours, and we will know if something was up with me, something was up with you. We can learn all together, and I think this would be really good for people who stream very seriously, people who do especially like top keys. And I don't really even think it would be very difficult for them because you don't even really need to include the VODs. Like I'm doing something that doesn't really need to be done. Putting a separate video in, uploading in every single run is not needed. Honestly, you can just link to the stream. Like I had a couple in, I accidentally forgot to record or something like that. So yeah, a couple, there's probably 1 or 2 here and there where it's just a link to the, yeah, this one looks like it's just, yeah, this is just a link to the VOD. And I think that's fine. I don't think there's any issue with that as long as it's never going away. And I think, yeah, a lot of streamers, like especially on Twitch, they can just do that same thing, timestamps to their VOD, and that would be fine. But I don't know. I hope that this will help and raise awareness. If you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to see, let me know. I'm not very good, to be honest, with Excel. In the past, a lot of people have helped me with this. Oh yeah, there's also one thing that people did help me with is there's also some stuff at the very end here that I don't really use too much, but it is here. This is a list of the weekly highest keys. And so again, you can download this and use all of this yourself as well. I had to shorten it now to 10 weeks, but it will again populate every single run that, per week. And so when the season gets kind of dry, what I used to use this for was I'd be like, all right, well, let's see what the lowest key I have from this affix set is, and we can just do that. Like the 3rd time through an affix set, you're like, oh man, I don't even know if I really want to do keys. But instead of the Blizzard scoring system, they don't really care about affixes at all. It's just fortified and tyrannical. Well, instead, we can kind of make it into a little bit more of a project where it's like, oh, week 2, my lowest key is like an 8 or something. Let's go get a higher key for that dungeon, and we could see the sheet that way. But that all comes through this area here, which some genius designed for me. I don't even know how. And then the final part here is actually a more specific sorting part. So you can actually type in basically any of the values that might appear in the first, like literally any. I don't know if this is working well, but anyway, yeah, I think it's, oh yeah, then you type the value in. I see. So yeah, this is always going to be up to date with the first tab. I can't get it to work for other. You basically need to copy this one for every, if you want to edit this, there's notes here about what you need to edit. But yeah, anyway, it's a good amount of work. So I hope that it does, impress, I hope that it helps people, hope that people want to check it out. But we're going to be doing this from the ground up, and happy to hear some feedback on how we approach it as we move forward. But otherwise, I am very much looking forward to the season. I hope you guys are as well. And if you have any questions or need anything from me, please do let me know.